Dvorak.
Here.
Next item on the agenda is approval of the agenda. No additions or corrections as I see.
None at this time, Mr. Mayor.
Take a motion.
Second.
Roll call.
Anderson.
Yes.
Lane.
Yes.
Dvorak.
Yes.
Mordini.
Yes.
Sargent.
Yes.
Motion carries. Item 4 is public comments. Is there anyone in the audience who wishes to speak to the council at this time? Hearing none or seeing none, moving on to item 5. Item 5 is consent agenda. Take a motion.
So moved. Second.
Roll call.
Dvorak.
Yes.
Mordini.
Yes.
Sargent.
Yes.
Anderson.
Yes.
Lane.
Yes.
Motion carries. Item 6 is new business. Under item 6, number 1, presentation by Mr. Greg Edwards with updates from the Greater Des Moines Convention and Visitors Bureau. Floor is yours.
Little mood lighting for you all.
Exactly.
Okay. Good evening, City Council, Mr. Mayor, Mr. City Manager, beloved guests. I know this is what you came out here for tonight. I'm happy to report to you our annual report on what's happening at your Convention and Visitors Bureau. Here we go. Things are alive and well in the visitor industry in central Iowa, especially I think a couple weeks ago. We had a great showing with the NCAA basketball tournament in town and really showed off the metro area very, very well, and very positive comments from national media to NCAA to players, fans, just about everybody. Very few negatives happened, so we were real pleased about that. I think you're aware that our mission is to market the metro area as a visitor destination, thereby enhancing the economic vitality of the area. We are funded through a couple of mechanisms. One is through hotel motel tax, which we receive 2/7 of your tax. We appreciate the partnership that we have with Polk City, among 15 total cities that we now represent throughout the metro area. We also have private sponsored partnerships to the tune of about $1 million as part of our budget. Over 870 partners, 20 what we call our corporate large partners, and 10 of those partners are located right here in Polk City. The other communities we represent pretty much the entire metro area, and we go as far north as Perry and as far south as Indianola. Continue to target 3 real specific market areas: the meeting convention planner market, bringing in both large and small conventions, meetings, religious conventions, and then we also target the sporting event planners, bringing in the big events like we just had the NCAA, to smaller events, soccer tournaments, volleyball tournaments, badminton, all kinds of sport aspects are out there, bowling tournaments, etc. And then our leisure traveler market is a very strong market for it as well. We target social moms, baby boomers, kind of the whole gambit across the area on that. Some of our significant bookings this past fiscal years were Wizard World Comic-Con, which we held at Iowa Event Center last summer, which brought in about 24,000 attendees over a weekend. We've rebooked that. They really enjoyed the Des Moines metro area. You can see some of the other ones. Thanks to Governor Branstad, we're bringing back in the National Governors Association this summer. We last hosted that when Bill Sack was governor, so that's a real coup for our area to get as well. A lot of national press goes along with that. Some of the major leads that we're working on at this time, again, range from religious to quilters to, we just actually signed the contract with National High School Rodeo Association to host that again at the State Fair in 2020 and 21. Some of the sports things, major bookings that you can see, not only NCAA, but Women's State Bowling Tournament is being played in the metro area currently, along with the Men's State Bowling Tournament. And those are great pieces of business. 12 consecutive weekends, 200 to 300 people each weekend, obviously filling up hotel rooms, eating in restaurants, shopping, etc. We also hosted this year, which got very little press, the National Christian College Athletic Association D2 basketball championships, actually up at Faith Baptist Church in Ankeny about a week prior to the NCAA. A lot of different stuff we're working on in the sports arena, including new bids on NCAA, which we're currently working on, which have to be submitted in June this year. We'll be bidding on events from 19, 20, and 21. They have 84 different sports that we'll be taking a look at. Obviously not bidding on all 84, but a lot of other stuff besides men's basketball, which is still kind of the crown jewel. Besides just booking these events and luring them to the metro area, we also service these events through signage. I don't know if any of you were downtown during NCAA, but if you were, you saw the signage. We lit the town blue. We had airport signage. Tried to do kind of throughout the metro area, welcoming fans and athletes into the metro. We also have our catch crew, which is our group of kind of a mixed group. We have college-age kids that go out and work these major sporting events throughout the metro, whether it be drake relays or state tournaments, helping visitors find where can I get something to eat, where do I go shop, different questions they may have. And our older crew, which helps with convention registration, assistance, and things like that. This past year, we did a pretty extensive study with a company called DK Shiflet, which probably means nothing to you, but they're a big national travel industry trending company, and they study trends and study who are your visitors coming in and give us all kinds of data, about a 3-inch report. What we really found interesting is the Des Moines area has changed dramatically from what it was 10, 12 years ago, where people now, in fact, are coming here for getaway weekends. They're coming here for special events, and they're actually planning vacations to come to the metro area. So that's a trend that has slowly changed, that we're enjoying seeing change, because that helps occupancies of hotel rooms in the summer, which used to be a very low season, which is now a very high season. So we're happy to see those trends changing as well. We continue to market a lot of advertising. We spend about $600,000 a year in our ad budget, doing television ads, running kind of through a 250-mile radius around the metro, targeting major markets like Omaha, Quad Cities, still Northeast Iowa, Waterloo, Cedar Rapids, Dubuque, and that seems to pay off for us as well. We get a lot of in-kind media promotions throughout the state on radio shows, early morning shows. We offer giveaway tickets to Adventureland or free golf passes to golf courses in the metro and different things like that as well. We still do the old traditional kind of advertising at some of the print magazines like Midwest Living, People Magazine, things like that, as well as trade publications, sports-specific magazines, meetings and conventions, things like that. Also huge in the social media market as well. Kind of our target market, again, from Omaha through central Iowa, eastern Iowa, western Illinois, and that actually goes up into southern Minnesota and northern Missouri as well. And we also run some ads occasionally in Kansas City and Minneapolis market to lure those folks in here as well. One of our ways that we judge our productivity is if we're continually increasing our production, and one is through our unique website visits. We increased that by 13% last year, totaling over 829,000 visitors. Prospective visitor inquiries, these are people that actually inquired with our office for more information on the metro, was up 16%. Our new social media fans were up 69%. And back to our partners that I mentioned earlier, our retention rate on those partners is at 97%, which we're pretty proud of. So it's not just businesses joining and then dropping out a year later. We went back and compared those numbers, because I mean, anybody can show unique visitors and all these kinds of social media stuff. Well, we went back and asked other CVBs of our same size how they do in those categories. And we found that we had 30% more visitors than our fellow brethren out there at the same size of convention visitors bureaus. And I don't know if this is huge bragging rights, but our visitors spent 7 seconds longer on our website too, so we'll take it. A few years ago, we went through a new sales strategy. We used to really concentrate heavily on big things, and then we started hearing from communities like Polk City and others that we represent, what are you doing for us? And we noticed that throughout the metro, as you've seen here, is a lot of now limited service type hotel products. So instead of just bringing in the biggies, which we still concentrate on somewhat, which is the citywide new definites, we booked 13 of those last year, but we're also looking at single property business, pieces of business that needs less than 250 rooms, multi-property business that needs from 250 to 799 rooms. And you can see that's paying off, that there are small meetings. Small meetings for 25 people are still valuable pieces of business for the metro area, and we recognize that. All of our goals were met last year, which were established by our board of directors prior to the year starting. I'll end with our return on investment to the community. For every dollar in hotel tax we bring in, we return over $26 for your return on investment. With that, folks, I will be happy to answer questions, take comments.
I'd like to make a comment, and we were fortunate enough to host the State of Iowa Girls Little League Softball Tournament last year, and used some of the money from Hotel Motel to help finance that. We like to think it was a large success with 9 teams from across the state, 2 of them from Burlington, Monroe County. Who else? I can't remember. Well, 9 teams here. Stayed in town. I heard good things back from our businesses. Then we went on to represent the state in a very good manner, I believe, in Indianapolis and Portland, and played in a national tournament. But that's beside the point. It was part of that, but I like to talk about that when I get a chance.
little bragging a little bragging rights going on.
Anybody that's been on ESPN.
Sign your autograph in the back row.
Right back there.
Yeah.
But should we have gotten you guys involved?
We did.
Oh, did
Yeah,
you?
we got some help from them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you,
And
Calhoun.
I-
I think you can thank John Calhoun for that.
I forgot to mention too that we do an annual golf outing with the CBB every year, and we try to rotate it. We will be holding that at this beautiful course called TCI up the road here in June this year. So hopefully we'll just get a team together, and we always have the Mayor's Cup as part of that.
Thank you.
I have high standards.
I don't know if we'll get a chance to host that again, but we definitely learned from that experience.
That's
and
great.
It's a lot of work. But just want to let you know that some of that money is going to good things.
That's what we like to hear. Thank you.
Thank you.
It is nice to have a seat at the table. We do.
I'm glad you know this.
Yeah, we do enjoy
See
it.
nothing but upswing.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. I know some big events, and I don't know if people pay attention, but big events that are in Des Moines, we do tend to see more traffic out here than what you see on a normal night. Tuesdays can be real dead, but I know during high school basketball, girls basketball, I know there were some buses that were parked up there, and I know a lot of that is directly because of the publications that we're in because of the CB Cup. So
I'm happy to hear that.
do appreciate it. Any other questions for Greg?
Thank you.
Thanks, sir.
Appreciate it.
Thank
See
you
ya.
for coming out.
Sorry. Moving on to item 2. Item 2, consider motion to approve resolution 2016-22, approving the 28E agreement for the funding and implementation of Homeland Security services within the metropolitan area. Who wants to speak to that?
I can speak to that, Mayor. Thank you. We've been a member of this since 2007, and in 2010, a major rewrite of the 28E was done, and we became a member city in the rewrite, and this will be the third renewal of this. It starts in 16, which is right around the corner, or well, it's already in FY16, excuse me, and it's going through 18. The funding that is Polk City's has decreased in the years prior. It was $4,330. This one is $4,102, and that's a savings or a reduction of $227. As part of your packet, agenda packet, is a resolution, and after the resolution, there is a bill for this fiscal year for $4,102.
Questions or comments or motion? Ron?
Good timing. I was just questioning a week ago about this, and if we could handle an emergency like this and how we would handle it. And I said, well, fortunately, we didn't have to handle it alone because we were part of this coalition and a paying member and would get help from other entities. So that's good timing.
So they did a presentation a couple months ago on the MAC on how this was calculated, and there was a decent amount of discussion. Do we track our usage of the items that fall under this agreement?
I do have any and all reports that are given. I have not seen a report for about a year. As Polk City itself, I do not believe we have ever requested any use within the agreement and the terms of the 2080.
Is this a PD budget item, or where is this?
It would come out of the police department, yes, sir.
Did you have something, Ron?
Probably not anything that I haven't said the last 4 times this has come up. It's a great organization. It's a great unit, very highly trained and skilled. My question always is becoming is at what point do we look at this as a benefit to us and not a subsidization for another department? And that'll never change. We can get the same services from the state for free if we need them. And I have no problem supporting an organization like that because they do great things. That this argument could be made our way on trails. It could go back and forth forever. I really question where that line is. So.
What did the discussion center around down at the MAC?
The calculation of the cost, impacts to not participating, wide-ranging discussion on Chief Winger put together from Des Moines, and led by Des Moines and West Des Moines, as most things are.
Take a motion to approve the resolution.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call?
Lane? Dvorak, sorry.
Yes.
Mordini?
Yes.
Sargent?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Yes.
Motion carries. Item A, consider motion to approve the invoice from the City of Des Moines in the amount of $4,102 for the annual cost for the 28E agreement for Homeland Security, WMD, SWAT, and bomb services for fiscal year 16.
So I do have a question on that.
Yep.
This locks in the $4,019 for, excuse me,
102.
sorry, until from 16 to 19, is that right?
It's 16, 17, and 18.
Okay.
Chances are it'll change in 19.
Take a motion to approve that invoice.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call?
Anderson?
Yes.
Lane?
Yes.
Dvorak?
Yes.
Mordini?
Yes.
Sargent?
Motion carries. Item 3, consider motion to approve resolution 2016-23 to schedule public hearing on the proposed 2016 comprehensive plan titled Imagine Polk City, a Bridge to the Future on April 11th, 2016. Take a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Lane,
Yes.
DeVorak,
Yes.
Mordini,
Yes.
Sargent,
Yes.
Anderson.
Yes.
Motion carries. Go ahead.
I'd just like to make some comments before we move on. P&Z meeting last week ago tonight, it was strictly devoted to this, reviewing some changes that the P&Z wanted to put in. Snyder and Associates had made those changes, and there's still some more that the P&Z, who are the, what's their title?
The steering committee.
Yeah, they still would like to see some changes made, so
What I've seen of it, it's pretty impressive so far.
very, very much so compared to what we've had in the
Yeah.
past.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing the final. Okay, item 4, consider motion to approve increased costs of fire department Tahoe purchase in the amount of $4,496.13 for a cost of $49,496.13. Do you want to speak to that?
Yeah, I mean, I included a memo in your packet. This really is, it's really unfortunate. When we first started this project, we went with Carl Chevrolet and the state bid price of 2015. And unfortunately, when we finally were able to place the order, we missed getting the 2015 model by, probably by a month or two. So they went ahead and ordered us a 2016. On the assumption that there wasn't going to be a huge cost difference between the two, and then obviously we got the 2016 state bid price back and went up just over $6,000 over what we were originally planning on. So that put us over $4,496 over the 45 that the council approved before. So I'd be happy to answer any questions.
The only question I have, I don't have anything against the uppage. I know those things happen. But if you could just kind of fill us in. It seems, at least maybe I'm out of it, but it seems like we keep having more and more and more of these take-home vehicles. Is that true, or are we just replacing? Or
Yep, this one just replaced the 2003 Chevy Blazer. We still have 2 take-home vehicles, as we have for, 8 years.
No, that's fine. I mean, I know
That's a
sometimes
good guess,
perception, but I just.
Yeah. You're probably seeing them more as we run more calls and
Sure.
stuff.
No, I get it.
But there's the same number.
Any questions? Motion?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Mordini,
Yes.
Sargent, Anderson,
Yes.
Lane,
Yes.
DeVorak.
Yes.
Motion carries. Item 5, consider motion to approve middle school softball teams to use the softball field and pitching machine at Polk City Sports Complex from 4 p.m. to 5:30 for the following dates this spring, as shown on there. Give you a little history on this so everybody kind of knows where we are. So this was pulled a couple weeks ago, I think, as most of you are aware. We pulled it a couple weeks ago, and I think this had gone through Parks. Parks approved the usage. And I think, as far as I'm concerned, there was a breakdown of communication from the top down. I think that when the request from North Polk came to use the fields, there should have been discussion made with the Polk City Little League as far as their schedule. That was not done. Parks approved it, came to us. As such, I pulled it last council meeting after having conversations with a couple other council members and knowing that it was going to be pulled. After that, I asked staff to work back with Polk City Little League to see if those fields could be used. I ended up having countless conversations with Charlie Husak to see what we could come up with and try and find a viable solution to make this work. With that being said, I got a lot I could say to it, but I think I'll call on Polk City Little League and whoever wants to speak on their behalf.
I was, obviously this has kind of been thorn in the side maybe for everybody, but I was able to talk to Rob Sinclair, the AD, today, and you know what? Unfortunately, I think if that would have happened right away, none of this would have happened.
Yes.
And we were able to, you know, just visit about the needs of North Polk softball junior high program, as well as, you know, the Polk City Little League program, and you know, that field too, which is kind of the one that was up in the air for debate. You know, 10, 15 years ago, we may have had 5 teams with maybe 10 kids on that field. And so you had, what, 40 to 50 kids. And today you're looking at 13, 14 teams with an average of 10 kids. So now you have 140 to 145 kids, girls, that are, and we're still with one softball field. So, you know, that field's basically being used every night from 4:45 till dark. And you know, I explained that to Rob, and Rob recognized it because he could empathize, because they're kind of going through a little bit of the same problems up there. And you know, I think you know, at the end of the day, you know, wherever that breakdown was, miscommunication or no communication, I think, you know, Polk City Little League just felt that, you know, we were the, you know, the decision to recommend was probably not the right thing to do, because you know, the party most affected wasn't involved in the decision. And I think it showed that you guys agreed with that too, because you pulled it from the consent agenda here a couple weeks ago, and we appreciated that. Appreciated your leadership, Mayor, to allow us to get involved in that. And not that we didn't want to let them use anything. I mean, I think it was clear that, you know, we had a solution for them. And I think Rob, the AD, he turned that solution down at first, and then he called AES, Elkhart, on the other side of our school district, and I think got the same kind of response that, hey, we don't have anything over here either from 4:45 to dark. And you know, I know the person over there pretty good, and he told Rob basically, you know, Rob, if Polk City has a field for you, I mean, fields are so slim, you got to take it. And I kind of reiterated that with Rob today, and I think we found the solution.
So where we're at right now is what they had originally requested, and if I speak out of turn, let me know. But what they originally requested was Field 2. We worked with them. Charlie worked back and finally was able to talk to Rob today. We're able to get. They're going to take Field 4.
Yeah.
Same date, same times. Polk City Little League's agreed to pay to have that field taken care of and manicured, whatever needs to be done before each of those practices. It'll be paid for out of their budget, not out of city budget. And also will allow them the use of your pitching machine, which again is the property of the Little League, not the city's. And so that was another breakdown on our end. That's their property. So there's been a lot of conversation around this, and again, I want to thank Charlie and Polk City Little League, and I know Charlie for reaching back out to Rob Sinclair again this morning to try and see what we could do to come up with what I believe is a reasonable solution for everybody, and I think takes care of the problem. And I again appreciate you guys on all of that. So what I'd like to see is a motion to approve this based on Field 4. I know that's not necessarily what Parks was recommending. However, that was their recommendation, and we're the one casting the vote. Anybody have any comment?
Oh, I think you did a great job. I think deferring it for 2 weeks was the right thing to do. We had time to work it out. It's for the best. I think a lot of times we forget who this is really all about. And it's about the kids. It's not about adults. It's about finding a place for kids to play. And I know we've always tried to do that. I hear some rumblings about we never go against a commission. Well, it's just not true. I remember a thing similar to this in the early 90s when the park commission was not going to let soccer use the fields, period. And we as a council overrode that decision. And at the end of the day, that was all about some adults that couldn't get along. And I made the motion. I said we have 98 kids here in town that are ready to play soccer. This is when it was the Polk City Soccer Association. And made the motion, got a second, and it passed that to allow the kids to play, not to tell 98 kids 2 weeks before the season started that they didn't have fields. So to say that we don't override commissions is just not the truth, because we have. I know that everybody up here tries to do the right thing every time, and at the end of the day, it's about the kids. It's not about adults. I commend you on handling it the way you did, Jason. I think it all could have been avoided, but I hope it works out for everybody involved.
I think it will, and it obviously exposed the problem that we have. Even more identified the issue of field space, not only in Polk City, but in the district. And as I have stated up here more than once, we're going to make do with what we have, because there's nothing else we're going to get. We've been down that path twice already.
I think the overriding parks, I think it's not compared the same information, because it came up and Josh is on the committee, right, on Polk City Little League.
He's on the parks, yeah.
He's not on the, I think he was asked, he wasn't able to come to the meeting, so it was just a matter of asking the question behind the question and not assuming it's okay, but double checking and checking. So for sure, your point well taken, but if people would have known and it hadn't, should have just asked. We should have done a better job at the Parks Commission, so
Yeah.
we'll do that.
I think everybody learned a lesson.
Sure. Keep learning, so.
Make a motion to approve the times listed. Do you need to state where, or is it?
Field 4, I just want to make sure that's part of the motion.
Okay, Field 4.
Second.
Roll call.
Dvorak,
Yes.
Mordini,
Yes.
Sargent, Anderson,
Yes.
Blaine.
Yes.
Motion carries. Yes, please.
So I was hoping before we had the vote there to interject something.
I'm sorry. I apologize.
I guess I'd like to thank Charlie and his crew and everybody with the Little League. I know that a lot of the times people that do the most good for the community are never recognized. And Charlie and the whole group that are with that, there's very few people in town, in my opinion, that give more time, talents, resources, whether it be financial or work, back to the community and the sports of what they support. And so, I wanted to give you kudos there. Definitely one of a select few at the top of that list. And furthermore, I know some people are writing this off a little, but as you know me, I'm not willing to do. Polk City is a small town, and that's something I really appreciate. But being a small town, you hear a lot of things, you see a lot of emails that weren't meant for you. And I find it very, very interesting that some of the people that are writing these emails and sending them out, once again, spreading false information like we had in another issue this year, are the very few people that voted against the fields in the first place, so now crying foul. So it's too little, too late. And we all know at least one of them that sent an email out here, and we also know one that's on the school board. So you need to be careful when they're trying to create controversy where there is none, and people really need to listen closely to who they're listening to, because facts are the one thing that don't change.
I would agree.
But before we move on, if we're going to try and get a batting cage down there, which I think we are on field 4, correct?
I'd like to try, yeah, we definitely want.
I think that I know Little League has the money, but I personally feel that we as a city should help a little bit. I know we did with that original one. Probably, I doubt that there's anybody in this room that knows the history of that field except for Ken and I. It didn't just grow out of the grass. When I coached girls softball, we played at Big Creek State Park. We had no field. A gentleman who's still here in town named Doug Larson, who took over after me, he's the one that made that go. And I think the only city dollars in that was for the fencing, and everything else was done with private money. I could be mistaken, but I had a conversation with Doug just last week, and that's the way he remembers it.
Well, as Charlie and I spoke about it, I think on Friday, I think was the last that we were trying to figure out for everybody on this was, if Little League could kick in some, and then what would be nice is if we could get North Polk to pony up some money as well. And get North Polk to pony up some money as well as the city and have it everybody's got a little vested interest at that point. We don't know whether we can make that happen or not, but we talked about it. I think we stand a better chance of having us and the Little League pay for it, but we'll see what happens, what the cost is.
I just assumed we did.
Pay for it out of our own pocket. So we'll see. I know Charlie was going to get some numbers together and see what we can do.
The history is the sharing's a problem, so I just assumed we paid for it.
Mayor's report, Rob, actually, you kind of took over from where I was going to go. My last couple of weeks really have been spent around this. I was reminded these last couple of weeks some of the history that goes with North Polk and Polk City, and unfortunately, I felt that this particular issue began to grow legs and get out of control quickly. I think we did a good job of trying to cool the fire. To coin a phrase from you earlier today, I think there was a couple of us carrying buckets of water while others were carrying gallons of gasoline. And I'm proud that we were able to prevent this from becoming a bigger issue, but clearly it's a deep-rooted issue. The number of people that contacted me ran deeper than I thought it would go over the last couple of weeks. So again, it's unfortunate, but I think we're still working it. Mr. Dvorak.
Yes, I'd like to thank Mr. Mahana for the report on the building permits and just kind of a few of the numbers that for 2016 is we got 14 building permits so far this year, which would represent 26% of all building permits last year, and that's only 3 months in. And that the average assessed value is $23,000 more per unit. So you can see how not only are the permits getting more volume, but also it's better houses, more valuation, et cetera. So I want to thank you for that, Mr. Mahana. I think that's good to know because people ask a lot of that. I'd also like to thank Little League as well, Brenda and Charlie for working with the entities involved to get it all as a win-win. And Mr. Mayor and everybody else, thank you. It's good stuff.
Mr. Mordini?
I'd just like to again reiterate what was said earlier. Both of the representatives here, I think they did a great job in working with Rob Sinclair and pushing this through. Where it should have been from the beginning, but that's what, water under the bridge. And kind of reiterate probably what I said about 3 years ago. If everybody can give up on their egos and who did what in 1950, we could probably realize that we can accomplish anything in this town if we just quit bickering. But, I wasn't here in 1950, and I can't change what happened in 1950. So some people, I guess, just need to do a little growing up.
Mr. Sarchik?
I don't have anything other than a question that I was asked yesterday regarding the Kimberly development, the involvement for the plan that was presented to P&Z a month ago that has not come back. Do we have any update on that?
I do. I was going to talk about it.
Okay, then I have nothing.
I was invited to a meeting with Mr. Kimberly and his representative and Snyder and Associates last Thursday. Mr. Kimberly came back in, I felt cooperative, was willing to change. In fact, his exact words was, I want to make this happen, and if I have to make some concessions, I will. Some concessions were made. Now, that's not to say that it's everything we want, because there are still some things that'll have to go back to P&Z to take a look at. But the main things, roads moved, the roads added that they had cut out, the islands that were going to be a problem for public works are going away, some setbacks are being changed. Just pleasantly surprised that the meeting went as well as it did. That's not to say it's a done deal, but we did have a meeting and it'll be going back before the P&Z, I believe, next month. And
I
also,
think it's going to make it by April.
if it's ready, I guess is the key word. If it's ready, it will go back before the P&Z next month. Also, there's a Board of Adjustment meeting April 4th. I've been asked to attend, and I will attend that and report back to you and keep my mouth shut because I'm not supposed to talk at those meetings, so
Good luck.
that's all I have.
Good luck with it.
Yeah, right.
Mr. Lane.
I don't have much of anything new. I guess I could just say ditto to everybody else that they've said. One comment on the valuations, it's nice to always keep increasing and everything, but it'd be nice if somebody would build some starter housing in this town. What's being built here, I can't afford, and I've lived in this town over 25 years, so.
I make the same statement, Dan. If I hadn't moved here in 1968, I couldn't live here.
That's all I have.
Council discussion? Just one other thing I'd like to add real quick is I did go to the Citizen of the Year and Business of the Year dinner that the the Chamber held the other night, and if you get a chance to see either Krista Bower-Sox or Sean Corner, make sure you thank them. They were both humbled a lot, and Sean, as a business owner of Polk City, not living here, he was visibly moved on how much he loves Polk City and how much he absolutely loves having a business in town, and how 28 years ago his wife let him leave his job and start a dream, and here he is and absolutely loves being in Polk City. So couldn't have happened to really two better people, I think. City Administrator's report.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm going to take a few low-hanging fruits and then get into a few items that I need some direction on. At the last council meeting, there was some discussion of available grants to fund private slope stability improvements. As part of your agenda packet, you have a report from Snyder and Associates, who has a water division that constantly keeps abreast of that. To summarize, there's very little out there. And in this particular situation, the number of requirements that are placed on the eligibility are very strict, and just there's nothing that we can see at this time that's out there in federal funding. But a copy of that report is included in your agenda. Low-hanging fruit, I'm going on.
Real quick on that.
Yes, sir.
Was there any more updates from him since our last meeting?
No, sir.
Okay.
In front of you from Kathleen Connor is the revisions on the comp plan. These are red lines so you can quickly see what was changed. Please take a look at this. We did it in this manner so you would not have to read the entire comp plan again. Please take a look at that, and at the April 11th meeting, we will be discussing that comp plan and any changes council wants to make, and you will have the option to adopt a resolution which adopts the comp plan. I want to remind everybody of our city recognition event, which is April 8th, Friday, April 8th at TCI. You should have gotten an email, and council should have received also a copy of the invitation. As a reminder, Tim Warman, City Administrator, City of Waukee, will be talking on Capitol Crossroads. Citizen Neighborhood Group, as you will recall, was approved at the last council meeting. This has been pressed into our website, and we've had emails that have gone out on that, tweets if you will, and we're looking for people to step forward and volunteer. All it takes is a letter of interest.
Have we gotten any of those to this point?
I have not seen any yet. Good question. What I do need some direction from the council is we're getting to the point where we're going to need to set up interviews for the police chief. I've been working with Mulder and Associates, and I think I have found a location, and I have called. We wanted up to 4 meeting rooms that we could shuffle the top 5 applicants to. We found that at the Methodist Church, and the Methodist Church has agreed to allow us to use it. I was there today, and there's various different ways we can set that up. What I need to do now is set a date that we want to start the interview process. And judging from how busy May is, it looks like our first available date, and maybe best, is May 17th. That's a Tuesday. You will need to put 5 hours to one side. This is one that we can start at noon, we can start at 11, we can start at 10, whatever the case may be. Since this will be a council meeting and basically a long work session with the council, depending on when you set it, we will either bring in, let's bring in Papa's Pizza, so you will have an opportunity to eat as you continue to work. Just wondering if the 17th works for everybody, and if so, we will continue to secure and finalize all of the plans that need to be done.
Works for me.
No objections for me.
Tuesday.
Yep.
Yes.
I have a bicycle collective meeting, but I guess I can miss that.
Okay.
It's about 5, right? So.
Is there a time that works for people? Do you want it spread through
Afternoon.
part of the morning? You want all the afternoon? You want to go from, say, 12 to 5, or?
Afternoon.
Afternoon works for me.
I'll have to check my social calendar, but I'm sure it'll be all right.
Okay, you're the least of my concerns right now.
Okay, we'll start at noon.
Noon? Okay. Yeah, all right, yeah.
Okay.
Anything else?
That's all I have, Mayor.
All right,
Thank you.
excellent. Attorney's report.
Nothing, Your Honor.
Engineer's not here. Public Works,
Nothing at this time.
Technology, Finance,
Nothing.
Fire Department,
Nothing.
Police Department,
Report.
Library, Citizen Liaison.
Nothing at this time.
Ron?
Have you heard anything from, has anybody contacted you about serving on those committees?
No
Okay,
emails, no calls.
all right.
Ron, would you like to make a motion?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
7:18.